Welcome to BlackUSA.news morning show. I'm your host, William Honolulu Jr. Join us as we explore the news and opinions that impact our community. We break down how the major stories have a very personal, local, and racial impact. No topic is off limits, but even if the conversation gets rough, we're always going to keep it real. Greetings and salutations, all my friends out there in internet land. I am William Honolulu Jr., and I have the privilege and honor of serving as the host of the Black USA News morning show. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Damn it, good morning to you. You all know what it is. Y'all know why I'm a little wound up. What is today? Look at your calendar. What is today? Taco Tuesday. How dare you? Titillating Tuesday. It is Titillating Tuesday, and it's really, I was telling them backstage, is the Titillating Tuesday is just really a great opportunity for me to get to say the word titillating as much as I want. Like, it makes me feel good. Me and my inner 13-year-old, he's just giggling. Today is going to be a continuation of some of the stuff that we talked about last week. We're going to dig a little deep into the Kama Sutra. wait, you see what? I didn't even mean that. You see, we go dig deep into the Kama Sutra because there's a position we're going to talk about that part later. Lost my train of thought. I was thinking because when you had the right angles, it's show notes. Thank you. This is why they give me paper because the position is anyway. Okay. One of the things that we want to make sure that we remind you of is that today is World Blood Donor Day. So if you are able to give blood, today is a really good day to do it, or at least schedule the appointment. Because the reality is, especially in the Black community, there is a shortage of blood. And it's not just for operations, it's also for, car accidents. There's so many different reasons that people need blood, and they need blood from people who can match. So if you have not given blood, please go out and do so, especially if you got one of those hype blood types. What is it? O positive. I'm O positive. And O negative. And also if you have some, just go. I'm trying to break it down to who should go. Just go and give some blood and save some lives. Like, seriously, it's just that simple. Like, that's what I tell y'all. We be bringing y'all easy stuff to do to help the community. That's all I'm talking about. Big shout out to the team, Crazy Horse Morgan, Brandy Raymar, and Grace Awaka, always holding us down, making sure that we have all the resources we need to bring you a show that you can enjoy. Please make sure that you stay tuned for our political coverage, Black USA News. We have pulled together interviews from candidates from Central Committee to delegates, senator, governor, comptroller, all of it. Everybody, we've been talking to everybody, and we're putting together some footage for you guys so that you all can check them out. So make sure you stay tuned to that. Oh, Rita is here with us. Hey, Rita, how you doing? Let's see what else? Because I got to get the show notes because y'all know I'm about to have fun. Not only do I have the chief titillating officer, Stacey Dennis. Not only is she here today to help you all get and stay titillated, we have Dr. Yee joining us again, and we're going to talk about the Kama Sutra. Now, see, I think you all are out there getting a little pre-titillated because I felt the vibe come back through the screen when I said Kama Sutra. Like, ooh. Don't do that, because we're going to talk about it in meaningful ways. Now, there will be a little, don't get it twisted. There's going to be some of that. But we're going to talk about it in a meaningful way because guess what? It is not just illustration. It's not just the illustration of positions. It's not the Playboy of the ancient times. It talks about emotional wellness. It talks about energy. It talks about chemical use. It talks about all of these things. And it is kind of a guide for a good life and great sex. Because I'm not sure how you could have one without the other. I got to be honest. I've never contemplated a life that didn't include good sex. But before we get on to that, because I got show notes and I got stuff to do. So let me tell you a little bit about the Grinding Gang. Hi, my name is William Honolulu Jr., and I'm the host of the Black USA News morning show and the president of the Grinding Gang Incorporated. The Grinding Gang is an organization that helps small business owners in the nonprofit and for-profit communities figure out how to make sense of all the noise. There's a lot of information out there, and sometimes it gets a little overwhelming. We help you develop business plans. We help you figure out what to do with a lot of the information you receive, and we also help you figure out how to become more profitable. We also host a variety of workshops. You can check out our next workshop on grant writing right here. So that's how we can help you build and grow your business. What I want to do real quick right now is to bring the co-host of Titillating Tuesday to the stage, the chief titillating officer herself, a public health professional, a sex educator, and the adult in the room. Hey, wait, there's the button. Hey, how you doing?
Hi. The adult in the room. Yeah.
How you doing this morning, honey?
Good morning. Good morning.
Weekend?
I'm excited about today.
How was your weekend?
My weekend was great. It was busy because I also work in the ER, so it was busy, and doing both of these things at the same time is a little exhausting, but it's what I'm supposed to be doing.
Look at you out here doing the damn thing, always with your cape on. Always got your cape on. So I was gonna I looked up some stuff about Dr. Yee, and I was gonna try to spit it, but then I was like, nah. Last week I couldn't do better than what you did last week, so I'm gonna let you introduce Dr. Yee. Go ahead. I'm gonna give you the whole floor. Go ahead and tell them about her. Tell them about her.
Queen Mother. Yeah, she's amazing. She's amazing, and I hope that through this show that more viewers will be able to connect with her and get with her. She is an acupuncturist and a doctor of Oriental medicine here in Maryland, and she knows homeopathic modalities. And sorry, that was my Animal Farm scurrying. It's like Dr. Doolittle in here. But she's an acupuncturist and a professor at the University of Maryland School of Integrated Health. She is amazing, and she is and a tantric professional. So she's going to add a lot to our discussion today. And I can't wait for you all to get used to her.
All right, well, let's go ahead and get her in. Dr. Yee, you ready? Dr. Yee, you ready? Paging Dr. Oh, here she goes. Hey, Doc.
Happy Tuesday, everyone. Thank you for inviting me back. We had so much fun last week.
Absolutely.
William had the most fun last week.
William always has the most fun. Why would we have a show where William didn't have the most fun? That doesn't even seem like a good show. I don't think I would like that, though. So Doc, Stacey did a wonderful job of introducing you. But if you could tell us a little bit more about like your specialty, how do you help people? Because you talked about some stuff last week. People was like, what? People do that? Oh my God! You could teach people that? Oh, I got so you might be getting a couple DMs because I refer people to you. Like I don't know what to tell you. You might want to
real talk, facts.
Thank you. Well, my primary function in life is a doctor of Oriental medicine, and I operate my private practice in Owings Mills, Maryland. So that is my primary hat, Doctor of Chinese Medicine, where I perform acupuncture, and instead of prescribing pharmaceuticals, I prescribe Chinese medical herbal formulas to assist people with various diseases and disharmonies in their bodies. So that is my primary role in life. Tantra instructor is a small part of my life, but it is a very vital part because so many things come from being blocked, being hindered, being energetically stagnant. There's so many issues that we have that stem from childhood, physical abuse, emotional abuse, psychological abuse, sexual abuse. I know, oh gosh, when I was in my 20s, the statistics said at that time, and I'm sure it's far more than that now, that 1 in 5 women in America have experienced some form of sexual molestation or abuse as a child, and 1 in 4 men. That was just the reported cases.
Right.
Yeah.
I can only imagine what those numbers are now, 30 years later. So when you look at the effects of childhood sexual traumas and abuse, and how we carry that into our adulthood, and how it affects our relationships, not just our relationships with ourselves, but our relationships with our families, our friends, our coworkers, and especially our intimate partners. We bring all of our traumas into the bedroom with us. We bring all of our issues into the bedroom with us. And we have so many issues. It's ridiculous. So while tantric energy work is a very small part of what I do, it's still a very profound part.
So I'm gonna tell you, you being disrespectful right now because you came up with a whole other show topic. That's not even what we're talking about today. Like that, but you so you see, I see what you're doing. You're just trying to make sure you coming back next week, because that's the whole show topic I got to prepare for. Like, I wrote it down. How do you enjoy sex? So how do you navigate sex after abuse? Because you are absolutely right. So do me a favor, titillating officer, write that down for next week, because that is a serious problem, especially in I've met people who didn't even realize they were abused.
Well, remember, we touched on it when we talked about phobias a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
We did touch on it, but I think it is such a large topic, and it does affect every aspect, not just sexually, it affects every aspect of our lives, and we become severely imbalanced. You just don't know that and remember when I said there's a lot of walking crazy?
Yes.
You know, you're functional, but you unbalanced. You know, you functional. You go to where you put your clothes on, you go to work every day, but you crazy. There's an imbalance with you. And we touched on it a little bit. And so I will be happy to have Dr. Ye back.
Oh, okay.
Next week.
I'm sorry, when it just, the way that you explained that and just wove it into what the rest of the conversation, and you presented it like just a natural part, but people don't realize how unnatural and profound it is on their identity, because for a lot of people, their identity is anchored in some of those traumas. So, my goodness, that's what y'all. I gotta. You know what? We have to pre-record Dr. Yee's segment, because I need an opportunity to calm myself down, because now I'm like, well, let's hurry up through the tantric part and some Kama Sutra and talk about that. That's helpful.
Nope. Right. You sorted me last week, bruh. We're going to get into it this weekend, and in actuality, we're going to have we're still going to be able to touch on what she said through talking about the Kama Sutra. You ready?
I apologize. That was just so profound. We had to stop everything, because that is huge. So I apologize. We talking about the Kama Sutra today, Doc. Go ahead. And I'm not sure if you look like a Black woman. So how you get into all this Chinese stuff?
Well, actually, how my journey began in natural medicine is that everything good came from the motherland first, right? Civilization began in the motherland. Medicine began in the motherland. Everything that's anything, people came from all over the world to the motherland to learn and take it back. So how my journey with natural medicine started, it was a little girl in Mississippi. We couldn't always afford to go to the doctor and all of that, but we had Big Mama and Medea and Nan and all of them that would get in the kitchen and mix up stuff, and they knew what to do. Now, for me, I was in a severe burn accident as a toddler. And when people see my hands, sometimes, you can still see where they're discolored. And in my right hand specifically, you can kind of see it a little bit. You can see like the little traces of the burn marks still in my hand, like little marks that are still there. The doctor had told my mother and father after the accident occurred, and he bandaged my hands, and my dad said he put my hands in his hands and prayed and told them that he had done all that he could do and the rest was up to God. And they sent me home, and he told my parents that according to medical science, Western medical science, I would never be able to use my hands. But somebody said I had a praying grandmother. And my mother's mother brought me home because it was a big battle. Everybody wanted to take me from my parents. My mother's parents took me home, and my grandmother began to nurse my hands with various herbs. And so not only did God heal my hands, God and my grandmama, not only were my hands healed, but now I use my hands to make a living and help heal others. And my grandmother would always tell me, you have healing hands, you have healing hands, you have healing hands. And now I use my hands to help heal others. So that was how my journey began with natural medicine.
So everything about you is impressive. Okay, all right. So tell us a little bit about
or traumatic.
Huh?
She said, or traumatic. No, she's not. No, it's not.
One of the things that I am learning through my process is that, I now rebuff the statement, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, because that doesn't work anyplace else except people believe it works emotionally. If I have $100,000 and I have an $80,000 emergency, I'm able to cover the $80,000, but it doesn't make me richer. But somehow mentally, we see ourselves that once we get past something, that's the checkoff. No, the problem is that we had to get past it. Those are resources that we are taking from someplace else to invest into addressing the trauma. And that's no bueno. So let's go ahead and get back on topic, because I realize I enjoy talking to Stacey by ourselves. Sometimes we just get off it, but you here too, throwing in all types of new information. So let's get back to it. So tell us about the Kama Sutra, because like in the lead in, it most people just get clips of positions. Hey, you want to try this? Look what my friend showed me. You want to do this?
Right. We were discussing
Playboy and Pornhub instruction manual, but it's so much more than that. Tell us, well, actually, either one of you, because I know Stacey is fairly familiar with the document, the text as well. So I'm I'm the novice on the crew. So go ahead, educate me. Tell me what to do.
Well, okay. So I wanted us to discuss the Kama Sutra because that I discuss. My whole business is sexual health education. And my thing is, how did we get here? In order to figure out how we got here, you have to look at what we did in the past, right? And I don't mean 20th century past. I mean, like in the past. What happened? How did, as humans, how did we define sex? And if you look at all these cultures, they'll define sex and sexual relations in a certain way. And I wanted to see where that came from. The Kama Sutra is a fantastic document. And unfortunately, in the West, we're only familiar with their pictures. Look at what the pictures show. But no one ever reads the 10 chapters that comprise it. And it is a fantastic document. Let me just give you a little bit of how it came to be. It is, and this is according to Indian legend, because this is based on Indian culture, the Indian god Shiva, in love with the female projection of himself. Okay, enjoyed sex so much. It's like, this is fantastic, being a girl. That he wanted to pass on the discoveries he made while being in his female form. And it covers everything having to do with the being male and female and having relations. It is meant to be enjoyed. It is meant not just procreation. It's meant to be enjoyed.
So a God said that we're supposed to do it like this? I like it. Go ahead, keep going. I like
Sex is supposed to be a natural impulse, and it is to be enjoyed. And so the entirety of the Kama Sutra is how best to enjoy the sexual impulse. I was like, yeah. Why was I not born Indian? This is amazing. It is not sinful. It is meant to be enjoyed. And the whole purpose of the book is the gathering of all of these Indian philosophers and poets telling you how best to navigate what is naturally in you. Hello? And I'm sitting here and I was like, this is how Western culture has got it jacked up. We have ruined it. We put it in a box it was never supposed to be in. And now you've got people walking around with traumas and predilections and yeah. So that's what we're going to talk about today.
I like it. Dr. Yee, what you want to put on it? What you want to put on it?
Well, I also want to add that when you look at the Vedic texts in India, sex
I'm sorry.
was
Don't go around using brand new words for people and
okay.
act like
When
we
you
just
look
supposed
at
to keep up.
ancient texts in India,
Mhm.
sex was for pleasure and for healing. And sex prior to patriarchal religious creations, um, sex was a part of worship.
I like it.
The point of orgasm was considered to be the point where your entire being, everything about you was opened up to the heavens and you were in direct, open line communication and oneness with God.
You
And
get that
that was
right.
the point of prayer, like we had touched on last week. That was the point of prayer. We used to laugh at Marvin Gaye and when he talked about sexual
Sexual
healing,
healing.
but sex is actually healing. Is for procreation, yes, and healing and pleasure and enjoyment. And can I tell you, it's the Bible even talks about it. The Bible even got a little bit of Kama Sutra up in there too, in the book of the Song of Solomon.
You about to get a whole bunch of replies because
Oh
last
yeah.
week you and your
I
Bible
know,
talk sparked a whole
I
bunch of
know, but I got
Bring it.
Bible
Bring
today.
it.
I got
Bring
Bible
it.
today. Like, people like, show me where that says in the
right.
Bible. Well, I got it for
Right
you
here.
today. I got
Right
it
here.
for you today. Because
Right.
how I got started in this teaching others, as we touched on last week, was while a lot of people were teaching certain things as being taboo for the congregants, they themselves, as has always been in ancient society, the general populace was told, touch not, taste not, want not, while the upper echelon, and that included the clergy,
Yep.
well, they were practicing Tantra and Kama Sutra and all of these other things. In the Tantric circles, Solomon was one of the biggest and baddest Tantric practitioners ever. Homie had 1,000 women. 1,000.
How do you have time to roll? That's a
Tantra,
lot.
Tantra energy projection.
Energetically.
Tantric energy projection.
Mm,
And once you learn, like we talked about with the class a little bit last week, once you learn how to do it, then you recognize it when you see it. But for those who don't know, they read the Song of Solomon all the time and they lie and say, oh, this is showing the relationship between Christ and the church. No, it's showing the relationship between a man and a woman,
exactly.
between Solomon and that beautiful Black African woman,
Mm,
the Shunammite, who was Black and beautiful and altogether lovely. And it gave very intimate details that we cannot skirt around and say that this is a relationship between Christ and the church, because Christ ain't French kissing nobody. Jesus ain't never told nobody that the roof of their mouth tastes like apples and all of that. I'm just saying, but it's in there and I got it and I'm ready to read it. I'm ready to read it. So y'all grab your
Well,
Bibles
go
and
ahead
you
and
can
drop some
turn to
education on them this
Song of
morning.
Solomon chapter 7. Song of Solomon chapter 7, verses 1 through 10.
so this is it's so as you can see, the Bible is just another one of these texts that will put it into terms. Men and women, well, you're supposed to have
God,
sexual relations and
and
you're
God
supposed to
is
enjoy
concerned
it.
about our sexual pleasure.
Exactly.
It's not just, God is not just only concerned about our relationship with Him, but also our relationship with others and our relationship with our significant others, our spouses, our romance. God is concerned about every aspect of our being, healing at all levels.
Mhm.
And part of spiritual healing has to do with healing your sexual traumas, because we bring that into our religious circles and then we get married and they come up. And
Yep.
people in church come to people like me asking for help. And it has to be addressed. It has to be addressed. So I'm thankful that you
Absolutely.
all have a platform that is no holds barred,
Because of
unfiltered
him.
to a degree. and addresses these issues.
I'm telling you, it's because of him. And every week I'm like, please don't let us get blocked. Please don't let us get blocked. Please don't let us get blocked. But
I got enough stuff on the interwebs that I'll find a way to get the message out. I will go door to door like I'm running for office. I'll be damned. You will not stop me.
Sorry,
you know, and even in Chinese medicine, like we talked about last week, even in Chinese medicine, there were sexual positions that were prescribed by the doctors. Like we shared last week about men who may have been diagnosed with hypertension and a sexual position that was prescribed and used to assist with that issue. So, you know, today we're going to give out, you know, at the end, we're going to give out a couple of more positions. I do want to say one thing about the sexual positions. And looking at the various positions that were prescribed to help men and their health issues, and then the positions that were prescribed to help women with their health issues, I want to inject here. I want to inject here that the majority of the positions that we use today are geared toward women's health.
They ought to be.
And when looking at that, the thought that crossed my mind is, could this be one of the reasons why women on average in America live 10 years longer than the men? Our life expectancy is 10 years longer than the men. And I'm thinking this may have something to do with, now this is just the book of Yay, so don't quote me. This is just my thoughts, that most of the positions that we do are positions in Chinese medicine that help women to heal.
I'm sure I can probably find a grant that we can use to test it.
Hey, yo, and I can write that joint. I got a whole, don't threaten me with a good time. I got a pen will travel.
And I will be the clinical observer to document
there we go.
the findings.
Hey, so y'all listen up. If y'all ever hear we having volunteers for the hey, you might want to go ahead and get in. Because we
be certain I can write a grant for that.
No. I don't know why you did the bundle. I'm dead.
Because you said they want to get in.
Oh my God, I did it again. Thank you. Oh, I love you so much. Thank you for coming here. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you for coming. Another one. Another one.
Got two.
And another one. I am like the DJ Khaled of inappropriate jokes. And another one. Sorry.
Okay. Bye. So I love the idea of talking about the sexual health of these positions. I'm gonna add that to my curriculum when I teach these classes. But I want to give you some notable facts or notable observations in the Kama Sutra, and then I'm gonna throw them out at you, and then I want to see your I want to see your reaction. Okay. So
who is this?
the Kama Sutra describes sexual types, and they classify men and women on sexual types, and they say that, you know, certain types of men and women are prone to enjoy sex together. They're a good match for each other. So the sexual types for men are based, on both sexes, are based on the size of the sexual organ, the resistance, and their temperament. And depending on the size of his penis, men are classified as either a rabbit, a small bull, or a medium bull or stallion, right? And then a woman is either classified by the size of her yoni, size of her vagina, either yoni, meaning a long vagina, a serva, meaning a narrow vagina, and a hastini, meaning a wide vagina. Okay? And so certain combinations go together. So the equals are the rabbit with the deer. So small vagina, small go together, which, you know,
it makes sense.
Which makes sense. A bull with a stallion, a bull with a mare. So a bull with the medium-sized penis, and then the stallion, they call her elephantress.
Wow, that's okay. I mean, all right, that's okay. All right, elephantress.
they say that these partners have the best sexual energy.
That makes sense. Like that
It
just
does.
makes sense.
See, it has. They say that they have the best sexual energy, and they will match each other's energy and the timing of their. I think it makes perfect sense.
It makes
does
sense.
make perfect sense.
See,
There was a book. There was a book written in the 70s by a woman named Xaviera Hollander. She was the one who wrote The Happy Hooker, but she also wrote a follow-up book called Super Sex. It is an amazing description, and the more that you all talk about this, the more it sounds like portions of that book are reflective. She didn't get in because she's trying to sell it. Then we'll talk a little bit more, hopefully, about the use of sex and sexual information as a tool of white heterosexual male dominance, but that's a whole thing. But so she talked. Part of her big thing was really spending time understanding who your partner is. And if you're a minute man, find a minute maid. If you are tiny, find somebody tiny. Actually, I had a friend of mine who she was seeing this dude, and he made some comment about his security about his penis size before they had sex, and she said, again, had they read the Kama Sutra, he wouldn't have been offended. She was like, no, actually, I take it back. It was after sex. So he said something about his penis size. She said, that's cool though, because I don't like big dicks like that anyway. And for him, it was, so you can get, and there's like, but because our egos, especially for men's egos, are tied in that type of performance or the size, he missed the fact that she was pleased.
Exactly. Your whole goal was to pleasure each other. He pleased the crap out of her and totally missed it. She was like, "What's the problem?"
But some of this is what you're talking about. Do you? We don't get taught the real part. Real talk. How I learned a lot. I found out about sex. I learned in magazines underneath my cousin's bed in the 70s and 80s. Like the real talk. My mother gave
Benny Hill show.
And my mother gave me those low budget folded things back in the day. Doctors talk to teenagers about sex and wanted to hand it to me. And again, she tried to have the conversation. It was just like every time she started talking, I was like, you don't even have sex. I don't even know how I got here. Stop talking to me about this. This is so nasty. And so for me, and then you had a choice between watching the little clip art book and reading that about, well, the condom goes down and the insertion point versus like, oh baby, I like it when you do that. Tell me who's the man, who's this? It's like, I'll read this one because these stories are so much more engaging than doctors talk to teenagers. Mm-hmm. And so I think part of it is that this type of education does not happen in our community. And so we learn in isolation in boys' gym, telling each other lies about who we did, what we did. And that becomes the basis of the stories we tell ourselves moving forward.
You got to remember also that in this culture, we've put sex in a box. We can use it to sell stuff, but we don't actually want you to do it. You know what I mean?
We do if you're doing it with me and not going to tell anybody. That becomes part of this narrative as well.
We've already put it in this box. We don't want you to have it until you're married, which. If that was the case, I won't have a son because I've never been married. Are you kidding me? No, I'm not doing that. So, so we've already put it in a box where we don't want you to have it until you're married, instead of saying you really shouldn't have it until up here grows along with what's happening down here a little bit more and you know yourself. That's a different conversation. That's a different view of sex. Giving your mind time to catch up to the messages your body is sending is a different viewpoint. Marriage is not you don't become sexually proficient because you're married. And that discussion leads into other things that can happen with sex if you're not married. If you're by yourself and you should get pregnant. You know what I mean? So that where we've put sex is more of an indication of our society and some of the pitfalls and the logic of our society than it is about teaching someone to be sexually healthy and proficient in sexual health and their sexual health, their personal sexual health. We got a whole bunch of sexual idiots walking around.
And you can't teach what you don't know. You can't teach what you don't know.
Go ahead, go ahead, go
So,
ahead, go ahead.
and I said,
So
thinking
if you just
about
if you
like
wanted the whole
with
thing,
my mother, when my mother, when her menses came on, when she was a little girl, no one talked to her about it. My grandmother didn't talk to her about it. It just like they showed her what to do and said, this is going to happen to you every month, and this is what you do when this happens. And now you have to stay away from boys.
Dang.
They couldn't even say the word pregnant.
Right.
My mother told me they couldn't even say the word pregnant. They would say, oh, so you'd hear the elders saying, oh, so-and-so got her leg broke. And she said, you'd go over to the girl's house expecting to see a cast on her leg, but her stomach was just bigger. They didn't even say the word pregnant. There's some people that I know in Baltimore right now that still don't even say the word pregnant. They say expecting. They don't say the word. When my menstrual cycle came on when I was a child, my mother didn't talk to me about it. You can't have conversations with someone that no one ever had with you. And like you, William, they just, put us in the little bogus sex ed classes that really didn't teach you anything other than anatomy and physiology, but they didn't teach you anything about sex. They didn't teach you anything about self-love, self-respect, about knowing your own body. They didn't teach us anything because they weren't taught. And my mother told me that the reason why was because they felt that if you talked about sex, it would make you want to go out and have sex, not realizing not talking about it was just as detrimental and probably worse than actually having a conversation, because everything that I learned from my friends was a lie.
Exactly. You have a whole bunch of kids spreading things that are absolutely untrue. Remember when I told my son came to me and was like, can you tell me about gonorrhea herpes? Can I tell you about what? He said gonorrhea herpes. What is that? He said, I thought you knew you're in STDs. And I was like, you dummies squished together 3 infections and said it was the same. Khalil, go upstairs. You grounded. I can't believe you actually asked me that. I said, y'all have Google. We had Encyclopedia Britannica, and we only had the part that we bought. At the very least, we looked stuff up. Did you look that up? You will not find it anywhere. He said, so it's not true.
What ends up happening with stuff like that? It ends up being a joke, and that people don't realize somebody was joking. And it's like, because I can see something happens like, oh, shoot, you mess with her, you're going to get gonorrhea herpes. And somebody's like, yo, she got gonorrhea herpes? Yo.
Wait a minute. Then he came to me.
That joint is dangerous.
He came to me and said, what about the blue waffle? And I was like, boy.
Blue waffle. It sounds like a new type of dish at IHOP.
That's what I was thinking, but it don't sound like nothing. In this context, I don't want to eat that. I don't want to eat it. I don't even know what it is, and I don't want to eat it.
This is what not having any discussions. You don't want anything like this taught in classes. And shout out for the Indian culture, because at least they put it in a book and they let it fly. There's certain things in the Kama Sutra that doesn't quite apply today. Like there's an entire section on how to have sex with virgins. Now, in that time, which 1,000 years ago, perfectly normal to marry a 12 and 13-year-old. Not so now. However, I did meet in several of my classes 25, 26-year-olds virgins. Mm-hmm. The concept of how to make them comfortable and to initiate sexual contact with them would still apply.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Even though they're older, because in our culture, 12-year-olds, no, we don't do that.
Well, it depends. We have like certain segments, like with my background, religious background being the Pentecostal Apostolic Church or the Holiness Church, there are a lot of male and female virgins in that arena. Mm-hmm. So like with my best friend, when she got married a few years ago, she was 41 years old and she was a virgin. I have a prayer partner back home, may she rest in peace, in Mississippi. She died a virgin.
Yeah.
So there are Black men and Black women in certain circles today who are still virgins. Serena's sister, Venus, she's 41 and she's still a virgin. So it happens. I think it's more than we think it is, but in today's society, because we use sex to sell everything, and we purity shame. We talk about, and I don't even like the term slut shaming, because the very phrase is shameful in itself. But we will shame people, women, for being sexually active, but then we also shame women and men especially who are not.
Yes.
Especially a man who's trying to save himself for marriage. We will label him as all kinds of non-heterosexual things, labels and stuff, because he's saving himself for that special one.
Well, here's my thing, because
they don't talk about it because they don't want to be embarrassed. They don't want to be shamed.
But they also don't seek out knowledge that helps them grow. Even though you're not having the act, you can still educate yourself. Well, no, they can't. But you can seek out education. You can seek out knowledge and education. And we don't provide that for people who say, I would rather wait for the one. Cool. However, this is still the way your body works. And these are some of the things that you may start feeling. And it's okay.
And I think that's where the Song of Solomon comes in the biblical sense. Because when you read the Song of Solomon, and I used, and I tell people in church all the time, the Song of Solomon will teach a man how to woo and talk to a woman. The Song of Solomon will teach a woman how to talk to a man. She was like, I am my beloved, and my beloved is mine. I sought him on my bed, he whom my soul loveth. She's just pouring, just feeding that ego. And he's just complimenting the daylights out. In the Song of Solomon talks about even how to prepare your bed. She put flower petals and rose petals all over the bed and scented the sheets. And it'll teach you how to talk to each other before, during, and after. It even talks about French kissing and all kinds of stuff, how to enjoy a woman's breast. Chapter 7 in particular.
That story. I'm going back and read that, because I remember going over the Song of Solomon, and that's not my takeaway from it.
Hold on, I
got it for you. Because honestly, I'd have spent a lot more time in church.
Prepare to go off the rails again, viewers. It's coming.
From this perspective, I'd have showed up in church a lot more. I'd probably be.
But they don't talk about this.
Bishop now or something.
They don't talk about the Song of Solomon other than to skirt around a few things, because it's a pretty heavy sexual text. Chapter 7, verse 1 through 10. How beautiful are thy feet with shoes, O princess daughter. The joints of thy thighs are like jewels. The work of the hands of a cunning workman. Teach you how to talk to somebody. Thy navel is like a round goblet which wanteth not liquor. Thy belly is like a heap of wheat set about with lilies. Thy two breasts are like two young roes that are twins.
I don't remember this part.
Thy neck is as a tower of ivory. Thine eyes are like the fish pools in Heshbon. I remember hearing this in Bugs Bunny. By the gate of Bath-rabbim, thy nose is as the tower of Lebanon that looketh toward Damascus. Thine head upon thee is like caramel, and the hair of thine head like purple. The king is held in the galleries. How fair and how pleasant art thou, O love, for delights. This thy statue is like a palm tree, and thy breasts to clusters of grapes. I said, I will go up to the palm tree. I will take hold to the boughs thereof. He talking about a breast. Now also thy breast shall be as clusters of the vine, and the smell of thy nose like apples, and the roof of thy mouth like the best wine for my beloved, that goes down sweetly, causing the lips of those that are asleep to speak. I am my beloved, and his desire is toward me. Come on, somebody.
Yo, do you teach Sunday school?
Right now.
That's a thing. You should teach Sunday school.
I got goosebumps right now.
I would go to your Sunday school.
7.
Now you go to Sunday school. Shut up.
King James Version. That's the King James version.
We might. I mean, I go to the Sunday school. I might not stay for the service, because after that Sunday school, I have some other stuff I need to take care of. So I'll give you the tithes on my way out. But now I gotta go handle some stuff quick. I gotta get something.
Say amen.
Cannot.
Let the church say amen.
Amen.
And that
Honestly,
right
you
there
talk
is
about
like an
you want to
Singing
get
in
your
the
tithes up.
background.
You trying to get your tithes game up. This is the way you do it, amen.
Song of
Because
Solomon
honestly, I
is
mean,
like a
because
little
then you
brief
get the
intro to
God
Kama
money.
Sutra.
You get the God money and you get the porn money together.
It's not porn money. It's not porn money. It's not.
I mean, no, I'm talking about how we describe in the Western culture.
My
Like
Lord.
we have the Church of OnlyFans. Hey, oh my God.
Church of Yoni.
Amen, amen, amen.
Church of Yoni.
Right,
Somebody gonna
right,
do that.
right.
Somebody gonna do
Tell me
that.
that's not fire. The Church of OnlyFans.
I'm not. I said Church of Yoni.
But I
You said
might.
OnlyFans. I can't.
Yeah, Church of OnlyFans.
But so there did exist, no matter how you try to spend it, a way for you to but Song of Solomon is not taught because we don't want you to have sex. And I'm speaking specifically for Western culture.
About it. And I remember them going over it. And that's the thing, is like
they didn't go over it like that. They didn't go over it. One deaconess, when I went to church,
absolutely,
had
I
that
know
discussion.
it was not like that. I absolutely know it wasn't like that. But my thing
not
is
one
that
deaconess. Nobody. And my great grandmother was a deaconess. And I know she was married 4 times. Woman had a body like a Coke bottle. What? There was a reason why that woman was married 4 times. All right. But she ain't say nothing about the Song of Solomon. Nothing.
Yeah, but this is
because how can you hyper spiritualize that? You cannot hyper spiritualize that. He's comparing her body to a tree and talking about climbing it, comparing her breasts to grapes, clusters of grapes, and talking about grabbing the clusters, comparing the roof of her mouth.
A cluster of
to
grapes
apples.
off of a real tree, that's not that small. Huh?
Exactly.
A cluster of grapes that's not that small. It depends on what tree you climbing. That might not be like, because that's, and so what I'm saying is that I think that there is to your point, to both of your points, there is a lot of I wouldn't even call it gaslighting, except I can't come up with a better word, that about sex and how we even remember it. How we remember, because I remember the Song of Solomon being, and specifically because I was like, why do they have songs in the Bible? I was like, is that the hymnal? And that's the only reason I remember this conversation. I don't know whether I checked out or whatever, because nobody was reading it like that. If they had read it like that, I'd be like, wait, say that. So what is this again? Let me take notes. What is happening? Where you went? But my thing is, like,
book he knows. It'll be the only book he said. I don't know about the other books. However, let me tell you about Song of Solomon.
Let me tell you what had happened was. And so, but I think that's to your point, is that even as we try to navigate these spaces, and even if you're trying to have a conversation that should include this, that we have been so conditioned that we don't even pay attention to the messages that are right in front of us, because that couldn't be in the Bible. I must be being nasty. Look at me. Because that is what we have been trained to do. We have been conditioned to
traditionally
to negate
among the Christians in this country, and I'm gonna put it out there because there's some of us who are not Christians. But
it's not just Christianity. I think Christianity has driven a lot of it, but it has poured into our general social context.
But that's exactly what I was about to say, is that because Christianity has those tenets, those beliefs about what sex is and has leached into our social fabric. This is how things are taught in this country, and it's a problem because 19 million STDs is still an issue in the country. It's still a problem. And and I loved working for the health department. I loved working for the STD program, but those numbers are never going to go down unless you change how the conversation about sexual health is. And it was done before, is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Even in the book that you profess to use, the Bible, I won't even discuss how many pastors, deacons, church folk I treated in my clinic, but it's fine. It's fine. You have a roadmap, but we refuse for some reason in Western culture to follow it. And sex doesn't change. Our body and our response to sex has never changed. Conversation, however, has. And there are cultures like the Indian culture, Japanese, Asian culture through their pictures, the ukiyo-e pictures, which I am absolutely obsessed with. And even in the Bible did discuss it. For some reason, we're just like, no, it doesn't work that way. Really?
Well, it's
Really?
not some reason, but this is
Well, we'll
part of.
gaslight the Bible. The
Well,
Song of Solomon has been gaslit like crazy. Oh, it doesn't say that. Well, if it said it, it didn't mean it. And if it meant it, it didn't mean it that way.
but I
Yeah,
think
okay.
some of it, what you're describing, is the way that people in power who oppress, this is their standard operating procedure. It is that if I can control, one of the biggest things, like when you look at cult behavior and stuff like that, it is the control of information and fundamental values. I control your vocabulary. Oh no, we're not. This isn't a cult. This is a religious experience. I start your this is your family, not your friends. This is these types of words start building this type of cult mentality. And when you can control someone's food, shelter, sexual desires, and safety, you can control them. And this is another way, not just for the way that America has weaponized sex has not just been designed to imprison and to oppress women, but also any of the the race people of color that they want. Because it is Black women are over sexualized. They want it. They can't be trusted, blah, blah, blah. Black men are always trying to get white women and they're really good at sex no matter what. Indian people, they're just nasty and freaky and blah, blah, blah. And all of these things are designed to keep othering them. You don't want, because everybody's coming to rape. Every person of color is coming to rape. That's what they want to do. Or they just want to have sex. And this commoditization and weaponization of sex, sexual energy, and ideals and philosophies is a tool of white heterosexual male dominance. Because if they can control our sex, they have a better chance of controlling us. And part of it, one of the things we talked about before we came on was and I think you were talking about, Stacey, somebody is bringing civics back into the classroom, and come to find out it got taken out. But the problem is that the same thing with sex ed. If you stop educating people to what you all have been saying, that is when the whole falls out of it. They stopped educating people on civics. Now we had an insurrection. We stopped educating people on sex, and now there's 19 million STDs, families in disarray, and people are emotionally broken and have no resources to get. It keeps us divided and focused on things so we can't come together and deal with the actual underlying issues.
Exactly. It's exactly my point. And the people, our ancient texts had, pointed us in a great direction. They did all of the work, and we're just ignoring it. We're just ignoring it. I just want to, before our show ends, I just want to put out one insight that the Kama Sutra has, and I'm going to enjoy this. Hold on for a second. It says that the strength of the female desire is 8 times greater than that of the male. So y'all have to put in work in order to satisfy. So,
well, and that also goes to the point how, people, poly is a big buzzword right now, and polygamy, as far as one man, multiple women. Men do not have the sexual capacity for that. They just don't. Even in Chinese medicine, they don't. Women, on the other hand, and I remind people, monogamy is the newest form, the youngest form of relationship dynamics. Polygamy, one man, multiple women, is kind of old, but not original. Polyandry, on the other hand, one woman, multiple men, one woman, multiple husbands, is the original relationship dynamic, because women have the sexual capacity to facilitate more and the energy to facilitate more than one without it costing her life. With men in Chinese medicine, we have this thing called Jing, Jing. It's life force energy that you're born with. Men lose massive amounts of life force energy with every ejaculation, every seminal release. So basically, every time you release, you're pushing yourself a little bit closer to death.
Which is probably why we live
That's
10 years
fine.
longer.
That's another reason why we live 10 years longer. And then
Yeah.
men, when they get in their 40s and their 50s and they start going through their midlife crisis and they want to trade their 40-year-old woman for two 20-year-olds, they're pushing themselves even further to death. Like The Color Purple said, how he died on top of me. That is real. That is very real, because you burn through your jing. You burn through your jing, your life force energy. Women, on the other hand, we lose massive amounts of jing every time we have a baby.
One child is what I got. Thank you.
Every time we have a baby, we lose. Yeah, one and done. Every time we give birth, we lose massive amounts of jing or life force energy, because of all that goes into a woman's body, creating and facilitating and bringing forth a whole nother human being into the world. So every time we do that, we lose jing. But men, every time you all ski, it's like, you know, you're getting closer to the grave.
So
closer to the grave.
I appreciate,
and that's
that
why a lot of young women will get with the older man and feed him and screw him literally to death and get his money, and he thinking like, oh, I'm pulling this young. No, pop, you about to get pushed into the grave. You about to get pushed into the grave. I know y'all think it's a happy way to go until them chest pains hit.
Wait a minute. Now, we were supposed to talk about sex over 60 today.
Over 60, I know. That's what I was like. So y'all gonna wait till the last 4 minutes to bring this up.
No, we're gonna hold it over. We're gonna hold it over, because that's a whole Cialis and Viagra that created a whole new workforce.
With this new information, I'm going to make sure that I set up the show earlier in the week, because I may not be here by the time it comes back around with the loss of life force. So I said, as you started talking, I'm doing the calculations. I'm like, I might be dead already. God damn it.
You thinking about coming and going and not being here?
I can't have two of y'all.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. Yeah. So if I'm
a Gemini. Every now and again, the other twin likes to pop places.
I can't have
honestly, I'm looking forward to being a pop. Absolutely. It's like, oh no, because when you're a pop, you can tell stories before you do it, and they'd have to listen. Like, girl, I'm gonna tell you about this one time I was down. It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be so awesome.
We're gonna hold that topic over, because
that's big.
It's a growing issue among our senior. It's a growing issue among our senior peoples.
It's a growing issue for us. We ain't that far off, and so if we can figure out what's going to happen, then we can figure out what's happening, and then we can prepare ourselves in the next couple years or so, so we can transition.
I'm prepared. However, we're gonna discuss.
You gotta be bragging though. That's the thing I don't understand. You always come on here talk about how some of us is working, okay? Some of us is trying to catch up. Just because we on the sexual slow bus a little bit, you come here. Let me show you my Heisman sex at trophies and stuff. Don't do that. Don't be disrespectful. Don't be just because you know some shit. Don't be disrespectful. You know what? The show's over. I'll be damned. The show's over.
Can I throw out one healing position for women? We did one last week.
All right, wait. You need the whole screen before you start talking. You need the whole screen to talk about it.
Missionary. Missionary is a general healing position for women. When you do it, though, your legs have to be wrapped around the man's legs, and you are the only one moving. He's just there, and you rotate clockwise and counterclockwise until you get tired. So we're going to have a whole nother conversation about things that men can do to increase their stamina so that he won't be done before you are. But missionary position helps to stimulate the pancreas, the liver, and it's helpful for diabetics. It also aids with hot flashes. We're talking about over 50 and 60. It also aids with hot flashes, weak knees, sore feet, and knees after standing for a long time. So if your feet get hurt from standing for a long time, missionary is good for that. Hot flashes, missionary is good for that.
Yes. Okay. That's two extra shows, because I need to bring in a physical therapist or a kinesiologist to go along with her to go along with these positions. Because I'm sitting here thinking, I was like, so basically the man is planking and she's thrusting up. That's a workout. We always knew that sex was a good workout, but this is why.
No, he's not planking. He's in there.
He's in there.
He's propped up on his elbows.
Yes.
So he's in there and
she's closer engagement.
They're close engaged, and he's on his elbows, like peeking down.
Wait,
he's relaxed.
But
she's the only one that's moving. He's relaxed, and she's the only one doing the work. And I know the men are going to love that, because a lot of times, too often, they're the ones that are putting in all the work, and the women are there just relaxing, chilling. Not really throwing it back.
Who is you having sex with?
Sisters, throw it back.
You're going to confuse William. Just let's leave it at that. But next week.
But so wait. I got a bit. Y'all be coming up with business ideas and show ideas and shit. So look, the Book of Ye.
The Book of Yay, Dr. Yay.
Yay.
The Book of Yay. I apologize. The Book of. So watch this. Not only that, the guide, and I got a whole video series. Exercise. Bring the kinesthesiologist in. Exercising for better sex for better health, with diagrams, positions, and models. People who want to be like, let me show you how to do this part.
We're gonna get banned.
I will say this. I do touch on this in level 2 of my Tantra class. So there's level 1 and then there's level 2. In level 2, we do get into the spirituality and the healing aspect of physical sex. There is no sex in my class.
Right.
There's no nudity in my class.
I remember you said.
Right.
So we give you the information and the tools so you can go forth and conquer.
Okay, so Doc, tell them how they can get in contact with you, because I've been having a good time. Forgot that we was over time and shit like that. There's a whole other show about to start. Jesus, go ahead. Tell them about yourself. Tell them how they can get you.
You can follow me on Instagram at Dr. Ye Wong. You can also follow me on TikTok at Dr. Ye Wong. I've been posting a lot of stuff. I'm a new grandmother, so I've been grandmothering, but I will be getting back to some good juicy stuff. But you can scroll down and you'll see all of the things. And if you are interested in a class, please contact Stacey and William, or you can DM me on Instagram. I'm happy to have a class for everyone who wants to learn.
Yup.
Amen. So, and if you want to catch Stacey, here's how you do it. Instagram.
And if we nice, we can convince her to include acupuncture as part of the class, because some of y'all need it.
Ooh. I do teach pulse diagnosis, and that is a part of acupuncture. So I help you to learn how to feel your partner's pulses before and after, so it helps you to gauge their level of pleasurability and your effectiveness.
Oh yeah.
You can feel somebody's pulse and tell how long it's been since they had sex. Or if your partner is lying to you,
everybody like, wait a minute.
And saying, baby, I ain't been doing nothing, and you feel his pulse, because the body don't lie. You can feel his pulse.
Right.
Like,
okay, y'all keep titillating me, and we still here. Y'all keep titillating me. Damn it, we gotta go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Dr. Ye, Stacey, and I have enjoyed our time with you, and thank you very much. And we will be back next week.